Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, January 24th, 2012. I'm not really sure what this is. I'm not going to dwell on it for very long either because it'll probably ruin everything I'm trying to do. For the next little while I'm going to try doing a news type show. It's something that I've kind of wanted to do for a while. I have a few inspirations that have caused me to do this, yes. But mainly I want to talk about news in a more timely and a more back and forth manner. The news that we have today is really just wrong, isn't it? Especially here in the Maritimes, I'm not quite sure in all of Canada. There's not very many news outlets at all. You have the Chronicle Herald, Metro, Live at 5, CBC, CTV, but that's really it. 9 times out of 10, I find myself going to American or European outlets to get real news or things that matter at all. So I'm going to comprise some short videos over the next little while. Maybe some of you comment on it, post video responses. Maybe some of you tell me something you want to hear me talk about. And the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the Canadian woman who got beaten in Mexico. People traveling to Mexico, you need to be careful. Miss Sheila Nab was found in an elevator, a 5-star resort in Mazatlan. God, I hope I pronounced that right. With such bad injuries around the face region and head region that she was in a coma. Now she's awoken from that coma now. Doctors say that she recognized her husband and other people that she was traveling with and was responsive to questions. That's very good. But people traveling, you need to do a little research and think about things like this. This is a tragedy. This is terrible. There's a crazy amount of violence going on in Mexico right now. And whether or not that woman was involved or even knew about it, it came to her, and likely for little to no reason. There are people in the streets of Mexico right now being killed and beaten because of all the drug cartel things going on there. It is a dangerous, dangerous place right now for anybody who doesn't know what's going on. Bloggers, news outlets, newspapers, all being killed, shut down, destroyed, so that people don't know what's going on. It's terrible that that's happening to people like tourists that are going to places like that. Her story isn't the only one out of Canadians. I'm sure it's not the only one out of other tourists around the world. All I'm saying is caution really needs to be prominent here. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? And moving on. Today our government sat down and talked to the First Nations chiefs about trying to fix or get rid of the Indian Act. Now if you're not sure what the Indian Act is, I've included a link down in the sub box there. You can check it out on your own time. I'm just going to speak very briefly about what happened. Some of the things they sat down to speak about were extending the protection of the First Nation Canadian Bill of Rights to people on reserves. Talk about property of First Nation women and children to be protected when relationships end. Help with 21st century rules for elections and transparency in government. Oh, and the $1 billion being diverted from the Canadian government to help communities up north. Granted, this money is being diverted to help build better homes and help to bring water and wastewater systems up to code to improve living conditions. But I hate to be the bad guy to look at both sides of the coin there. That's a lot of money to improve systems like that, and we still have people living on the streets. But we move on. Locally here in Nova Scotia, our bus and ferry routes could stop Thursday, February 2nd at midnight, but the logistics of it are the city is trying to weasel its way in so that things like Accessibus, paratransit, maintenance, ferry services can be taken care of with part-time workers. As most of you probably don't know, Metro Transit's mostly comprised of full-time workers, to which many are very scared that this could affect their long-term security with the company. The city made an offer to the union, it was rejected on January 12th, and now we're posed for a strike. My personal opinion, strike probably not the greatest idea. Granted, the situation should be brought in something along the lines of part-time workers, but you guys can still keep your jobs. But at the same time, striking will leave 96,000 stranded. And no, I'm not pulling that number out of the air. That's a recent poll says about 96,000 people within HRM use the bus systems daily. Now, Metro Transit workers themselves have gone on record in saying that they don't want to postpone this, but at the same time, they don't want to affect passengers because they know what kind of a pain in the ass it is for people or expensive it gets to taxi every day. What it boils down to is the union for the transit system and HRM really need to get their shit together. Either way, the situation is very volatile. I hope that they come to some sort of agreement before the strike date so the strike doesn't happen. Personally, I'm in favor for this situation being resolved by the upper heads of Metro Transit coming up with better scheduling routes, times, and fixes for buses so that the city doesn't need to throw so much money at them all the time so that these things don't happen. I agree that job security is of the utmost importance, and especially in an economic time like this. But I kind of personally find it hard to back a company that when there's a sick call just doesn't send the bus through, who can't get a go time right even though it was right before, then they somehow made it worse, or who still doesn't have a bus route from the bridge to the Dartmouth crossing after all this time. Anyway, that's just a few stories that mattered to me today. Really opinionated. Oh me. But folks, tell me what you think. Feel free to leave a comment or a video response about these stories or any other stories you'd like to see me talk about. I'm hoping to do something like this twice a week, 3 times a week. Let's go with 3. Let's hope for 3. But folks, my name's Daniel O'Coin, and that's all I got for you today. See you next time.